And the commander leading our first deck tech series is Zada, Hedron, Grinder, legendary creature, goblin ally, 3/3 for 1 red and 3 other. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell that targets only Zada, Hedron, Grinder, copy that spell for each other creature you control that the spell could target. Each copy targets a different one of those creatures. I love this commander so much. Mono red, all about glass cannon, explosive, get in or get out. This is a personal favorite commander of mine, so let's get into what makes Zada tick. Alright, let's start off with the 19 creatures in this deck. Starting off with Storm Splitter, Dualcaster Mage, and Ornithopter of Paradise. Storm Splitter's haste, 1/4 for 1 red and 3 other. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, create a token that's a copy of Storm Splitter. Exile that token at the beginning of the next instant. We got this puppy in here for whenever we're casting those many instants and sorceries back to back to back. He's just going to double exponentially. The first time we're going to make 1, second time we're going to make 4, next time we're going to make 8. And you're going to win on that turn if you got him out and you're already up to 8. Dualcaster Mage, 2 red, 1 other, flash him in. When Dualcaster Mage enters the battlefield, copy target instant or sorcery spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. So we've got this guy here to, flash in and copy some of our key instant or sorceries, or to kind of get around counter spell stuff. Ornithopter of Paradise, it's a flying dork. It's a target for Zada to hit, making more card draw, making more treasures, stuff like that. Next we've got Rograk, son of Rograk, Rahagak, 0 cost, 0/1, first strike menace, trample. Just another body out there for Zada. It's free. Perfect. Treasonous Ogre is 1 red and 3 others, 2/3, dethrone. Don't really care about that. Pay 3 life, add a red to your mana pool. That's what we need him out there for. Paying some life, making the extra mana just to go that couple more spells. And then we got the Goblin Matron, 1 red and 2 other, 1/1. When Goblin Matron enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a Goblin card. Reveal that card, put it in your hand, and then shuffle. This is our Goblin Tutor on a creature, on a body. We got an extra body, we get a tutor, we get one of our other big goblins into our hand. Perfect. Then we have Skirk Prospector, Goblin Warchief, and Runaway Steamkin. Skirk Prospector, 1 red for 1/1, sacrifice a goblin, add a red mana. So this goes infinite with a couple of other things, but mainly just out there because we'll be making a lot of goblin tokens, getting some of those bodies off to get more spells. Goblin Warchief, 2 red, 1 other for a 2/2. Goblin spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Goblins you control have haste. Helps out with getting some of those bigger goblins out. Runaway Steamkin, 1 red and 1 other for a 1/1. Whenever you cast a red spell, which most of this deck is red spells, if Runaway Steamkin has fewer than 3 1/1 counters on it, put a 1/1 counter on Runaway Steamkin. Remove 3 of those 1/1 counters from Runaway Steamkin. Add 3 red mana, which is just perfect for what we're trying to do. You will be getting the 3 mana payoff from Runaway Steamkin a lot if he manages to stay on board. Next, Burgi, God of Storytelling, Siege Gang Lieutenant, and Imperial Recruiter. Burgi, 1 red and 2 other for a 3/3. Whenever you cast a spell, add 1 red mana. Until end of turn, you don't lose this mana as steps and phases end. Creatures you control can boast twice during each of your turns rather than once. We don't play it for the artifact on the backside, don't play it for the boast, play it simply for the mana. Sieging Lieutenant, 1 red and 3 other for a 2/2. Lieutenant, at the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control your commander, create 2 1/1 red goblin creature tokens. Those tokens gain haste till end of turn. Sacrifice a goblin, deals 1 damage to any target. We could use it to remove some pesky like mana dorks on the other side or anything like that. Allosaurus Shepherd, but anywho, we use it for the token creation. Imperial Recruiter, 1 red and 2 other for a 1/1. When Imperial Recruiter enters the battlefield, search your library for a creature card with power 2 or less, reveal it and put it into your hand. Then shuffle. We can use it to grab it the CJ Lieutenant, we can use it to grab the Prospector, Storm Splitter. We also have a Storm Telemeters in here and grab it too. Really nice. Then we have Goblin Instigator, Krinko, 10th Street Kingpin, and Storm Kiln Artist. Goblin Instigator is 1 red and 1 other for a 1/1. When Goblin Instigator enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 red goblin creature token, just making more goblins and more bodies. Krinko, 10th Street Kingpin, 1 red and 2 other for a 1/2. Whenever Krinko, 10th Street Kingpin attacks, put a 1/1 counter on it, then create a number of 1/1 red goblin creature tokens equal to its power. You know what, we got him for the token. Storm Kiln Artist, 1 red and 3 other for a 2/2. Storm Kiln Artist gets +1/+0 for each artifact you control. Magecraft, whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, create a treasure token. This guy will lead to a big ton of treasures, make him real big on the front end. But basically, when you target Zada, you get like 3 or 4 things out. You know, you're making 4, 5, 6 treasures per spell cast targeting Zada, which is pretty sick as long as he stays around. Also, we have Young Pyromancer, Krinko, Mob Boss, and Iron Mirror. Young Pyromancer, 1 red, 1 other. is a 2/1. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, create a 1/1 red elemental creature token. Whenever you casting, you get the more bodies for more casting. Krenko Mob Boss, 2 red and 2 other for a 3/3. Tap, create X 1/1 red goblin creature tokens, where X is the number of goblins you control. You know why he's here. Iron Mirror, 2 for a 1/1. Tap, add red to your mana pool. He's just a dork. And last, but certainly not least, we have Dread Horde Arcanist. 1 red, 1 other for a 1/3 trample. Whenever Dread Horde Arcanist attacks, you may cast target instant or sorcery card with converted mana cost less than or equal to Dread Horde Arcanist power from your graveyard without paying its mana cost. That card will be put into your graveyard this turn. Exile it instead. We will have a lot of 1-drops off the bat. Even if you can pump him, maybe you can get something bigger. We'll have a lot of 1-drop instant and sorceries in there that we can recast for free from the graveyard. And next we have our instants, starting with Brightstone Ritual, Sudden Breakthrough, and Untimely Malfunction. Brightstone Ritual is 1 red for add red to your mana pool for each goblin in play. Gets you a little bit of a mana boost for 1 mana because we'll have some goblins. Sudden Breakthrough, red and 1 other. Target creature gets +2/+0 against first strike until end of turn. Create a treasure token. Targeting this with Zada makes a copy for every creature you control, so you'll get a treasure for every creature you've got. Untimely Malfunction, a red and 1 other. Choose 1, destroy target artifact, change the target of a target spell or ability with a single target. 1 or 2 creatures can't block this turn. We mainly use it for the top 2 choices to destroy a pesky artifact or to change the target of a single target removal spell for people trying to get rid of Zada. Next we have Overblaze, Desperate Ritual, and Dreadmaw's Ire. Overblaze, 1 red and 3 other. For each time target permanent would deal damage to a creature or player this turn, it deals double that damage to that creature or player instead. Slice onto Arcane, 2 red and 2 other. Desperate Ritual, 1 red and 1 other. Add 3 red pips. Slice onto Arcane, 1 red and 1 other. Dreadmaw's Ire is 1 red until end of turn. Target attacking creature gets +2/+2 and gains trample. And whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, destroy target artifact that player controls. Let's start with Overblaze and Desperate Ritual. Obviously, Overblaze, Desperate Ritual are in here. They work well with Zada, gives you a little bit extra mana if you just play Desperate Ritual by itself. Overblaze gives all your creatures double damage. But together, you can cast Overblaze targeting Zada, and then splice onto Arcane Desperate Ritual to add the 3 red pip text onto Overblaze. So that way when you target Zada with Overblaze and splice in the Desperate Ritual on top of it, every creature you control will deal double damage, and you'll add 3 red pips for each creature you control because Zada makes copies of it. And then Dreadmaw's Ire is just a really good combat trick because you do it after, before damage, after blockers have been declared, and that way you can, just speed it in real quick, everything gets buffed, and then you can start destroying artifacts with it. Then we have Fists of Flame, Accelerate, and Invigorated Rampage. Fist of Flame, 1 red, 1 other. Draw a card until end of turn. Target creature gains trample and gets +1/+0 for each card you've drawn this turn. Accelerate, 1 red, 1 other. Target creature gains haste until end of turn. Draw a card. Invigorated Rampage, 1 red and 1 other. Choose 1. Target creature gets +4/+0 and gains trample until end of turn. 2 target creatures each get +2/+0 and gain trample until end of turn. So Fists of Flame is really good in here. It's one of those cantrip cards, cast it, draw a card till end of turn, yada yada, But targeting Zada, it's really good, and it's kind of a bit annoying, I will admit, because you draw your card for turn, right? So that's 1. Then you cast Fists of Flame targeting Zada, and then it makes a copy for each creature you control. So let's say you've got 4 creatures plus Zada, so 5 creatures total. So you have the original copy, or the original of Fists of Flame, and then you will have 4 copies that go into the stack. And then the first copy will resolve, you'll draw a card, and that creature will get +2/+0 because you've drawn your card for turn and the first card from Fists of Flame. And then the next one that'll go down, you'll draw a card, and that next creature will get +3/+0. You see where I'm going with this? And then depending on your board size, you got to keep track of all of it separately, but you do get to draw a bunch of cards. So a card for each creature you control, which is great. Accelerates the same thing. Target creature gains haste until end of turn. Copy it on all your creatures. Draw a card for each creature. Invigorated Rampage, we always choose the top one because we're targeting Zada to get +4 and gains trample, and then everything else will get +4. I don't see a mode where you would ever choose the second one. Next we have Return the Favor, Expedite, and Battle Hymn. Return the Favor, 2 red and 1 other for whatever mode you choose. First mode, copy target instant spell, sorcery spell, activated ability, or triggered ability. You may choose any targets for the copy, or change the target of target spell or ability with a single target. This card's really good because we can use it to copy like really good value card draw or treasure creating instance like we've seen already, or triggered abilities like Zada's ability, so we can copy Zada's ability to just pump on that again with a bunch of them. Either way, it works the same if you're targeting a spell that targets Zada or targeting Zada's ability itself. And then mainly we have it in here for change the target of target spell or ability with a single target for when they try to single target remove Zada. Expedite, target creature gains haste until end of turn, draw a card. This is just like Accelerate, but just another one. We draw a card for each creature we control if we target Zada. Battle him, 1 red and 1 other. Add red to your mana pool for each creature you control, which you'll get a lot of creatures out there, mainly goblin tokens. Then we have Tybalt's Trickery, Run Amok, and Might of the Meek. Tybalt's Trickery, 1 red and 1 other. It's counterspell in red, guys. We need the counterspell. Run Amok, 1 red, 1 other. Target attacking creature gets +3/+3 and gains trample until end of turn. Another combat trick card. And the Might of the Meek is 1 red. Target creature gains trample until end of turn and also gets +1/+0 until end of turn if you control a mouse. We're not going to have any mice, but the most important part of this is draw a card. It's another one of those big card draw spells for Zada specifically. And then covering Tybalt's Trickery again, counter target spell, stick, choose 1, 2, or 3 random, just roll a dice. Its controller mills that many cards and exiles cards from the top of their library until they exile an online card with a different name than that spell. They may cast that card without paying its mana cost, and they put the exiled cards in the bottom of the library in any random order. So, I mean, it's kind of confusing. Every time that I've played it, people are just like, but still, you gotta have the counter spell in red, you know what I'm saying? Next is Stun, Chaos Warp, and Siege Smash. Stun, 1 red, 1 other. Target creature can't block this turn. Target Zada. Draw a card for each creature you control. Another one of those. Chaos Warp, 1 red and 2 other. The owner of target permanent shuffles it into their library, then reveals the top card of their library. If it's a permanent card, they put it onto the battlefield. It's just removal for pesky permanents. Siege Smash, split second. As long as the spell is on the stack, players can't cast spells or activate abilities that aren't mana abilities. Stops people from adding stuff to the stack. Choose 1, destroy target artifact or target creature gets +3/+2 and gains trample until end of turn. We can use this to stop them from adding stuff from the stack or destroy an artifact or buff our creatures, whichever one you'd like. Next we have Summut Sprint, Will's Reversal, and Ancestor's Aid. Summut Sprint, 1 red, target creature gets +2/+1 and gains haste until end of turn. Scry 1. If you have a bunch on board when you target Zada with this, you kind of like scry, 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 scry. But, I mean, it helps out a little bit. Will's Reversal, 1 red and 2 other. Choose target spell or ability with 1 or more targets. Roll a d20. Add the greatest power among creatures you control. You may choose new targets for that spell or ability. You may choose new targets for that spell or ability, then copy it. You may choose new targets for the copy. This is more help getting rid of single target removal. Ancestor's Aid. Target creature gets +2/+0 and gains first strike until end of turn. Create a treasure token. This is just another one of those, like Sudden Breakthrough. Create a treasure token for each creature you control. Then finally, we have Teamer Battle Rage and Felonious Rage. Teamer Battle Rage is 1 red, 1 other. Target creature gains double strike until end of turn. Ferocious. That creature also gains trample until end of turn if you control a creature with power 4 or greater. This card after a little buff would be nice, because then you can get that trample too, as well as a double strike. Felonious Rage, 1 red, target creature you control gets +2 and gains haste. End of turn. When that creature dies this turn, create a 2/2 white and blue detective creature token. Cast this, targeting Zada, throw a bunch of little dudes in there, a bunch of little pumped up little gobby boys with like 4 or 5 power. Some of them get blocked, some of them go out. Then you get to replace them with tokens, which is pretty nice. Then we have the Sorceries, starting with Hordling Outburst, Forbidden Friendship, Empty the Warrens, Hordling Outburst, 2 red and 1 other, create 3 1/1 red goblin creature tokens, getting some more bodies for Zada. Forbidden Friendship, 1 red and 1 other, create a 1/1 red dinosaur creature token with haste and a 1/1 white human soldier creature token. More bodies for Zada. Empty the Warrens, 1 red and 3 other, create 2 1/1 red goblin creature tokens with Storm, which is freaking great because we can get a lot of goblins out there, which is great for Battle Hymn and Brightstone Ritual, just to make you a bunch of mana and get you a bunch of bodies, draw a bunch of cards, make a bunch of treasures, swing in. It's great. Next we have Heat Shimmer, Dragon Fodder, and Reckless Charge. Heat Shimmer, 1 red and 2 other, create a token that's a copy of target creature except it has haste at the beginning of the end step, exile this permanent. So targeting Zada with Heat Shimmer, if you have like a board, some tokens, some value pieces, maybe 6 or 7 creatures out, Heat Shimmer will target Zada and each one of those creatures. Of course, the copy of Zada will pop because of the legend rule, and anything else that is legend will pop because of the legend rule. But you get a token of everything, so basically you double your bodies, you double your value engines if you have any on the board. And then that turn, hopefully like you're casting a draw card and then maybe a mana, making some stuff pop off, so that way you can really get going. Heat Shimmer is really just used for like that turn. Dragon Fodder, 1 red and 1 other, create 2 1/1 red goblin creature tokens, more bodies. Reckless Charge, 1 red, target creature gets +3/+0 and gains haste until end of turn, and it has flashback for a red and 2 other. Just another one of our generic pump spells. It also gives haste. Then we have Karazin's Expertise, Mizzix's Mastery, and Witch's Mark. Carries Zen's Expertise, 2 red, 1 other. Gain control of target creature or vehicle until end of turn. Untap it, it gains haste. Until end of turn, you may cast a card with converted mana cost 2 or less from your hand without paying its mana cost. So, I mean, if, you know, they steal Zada, you can get it back for a turn and then win on that turn. You can give Zada haste and all your other creatures haste when you target with it, but mainly this is for you may cast a card with converted mana 2 cost or less from your hand without paying its mana cost. So if you got a bunch of cards in your hand, you can do this targeting Zada and then lay down a bunch of cards after that for free for however many copies you make of it. Mizzix's Mastery, 1 red and 3 other. Exile target card that's an instant or sorcery from your graveyard. For each card exiled this way, copy it. You may cast copy without paying its mana cost. Exile Mizzix's Mastery. Overload, 3 red and 5 other. You may cast this spell for its overload cost. If you do, change target in its text to each. So if you overload this, which is what we do most of the time with a bunch of instants and sorceries in our graveyard, which we'll have a lot, we exile each card that's an instant or sorcery from our graveyard. For each card exiled this way, copy it. You may cast a copy without paying its mana cost, targeting Zada, of course, and then exile Mizzix's Mastery. This will have us pop off if we have a lot in our graveyard. Witch's Mark, 1 red, 1 other. You may discard a card. If you do, draw 2 cards, create a Wicked Roll token attached to up to 1 target creature you control. So because of that Wicked Roll thing, it counts as a target for Zada's ability. So we target Zada with it, and then for every copy of Witch's Mark plus the original, we can choose to discard a card and then draw 2, discard, draw 2, discard, draw 2. Just kind of a card draw engine for us. Then we have Inner Fire, Twin Flame, and Seething Anger. Inner Fire, 1 red and 3 other. Add a red pip to your mana pool for each card in your hand, which we'll have a lot with all those card draw spells you saw. Twin Flame, 1 red and 1 other. Choose any number of target creatures you control. For each of them, create a token that's a copy of that creature, except it has haste. Exile those tokens at the beginning of the next end step. This is the same thing as Heat Shimmer. We ignore the Strive cost because we will only be targeting Zada for her ability to go off. And then Seething Anger, 1 red, and target creature gets +3/+0 until end of turn. But more importantly, this has buyback 3. You may pay an additional 3 as you cast this spell. If you do, put this card into your hand as it resolves. So what's really sick with this, if you've got Zada, Stormkiln Artist, and what is it? Zada, Stormkiln Artist, 2 other creatures, or, you know, maybe 3 just to be safe, but realistically you only need Zada, Stormkiln Artist, and 2 other creatures. You cast Seething Anger targeting Zada. It'll make 3 copies on the stack for 4 copies total, so each copy will make you a treasure, and then casting the original will make you a treasure. So then you'll have 4 treasures at the end of the loop. You just need to pay the buyback first off, so you'll have to pay the red and 3 other, so 4 total. Pay that mana. Target Zada, makes 3 copies, you'll resolve 3 copies and the original, making you 4 treasures. Seething Anger will go back to your hand. You'll do it over and over and over again and buff your creatures into oblivion. Next we have Spark of Creativity, Ancestral Anger, and Ral's Reinforcements. Spark of Creativity, 1 red. Choose target creature. Exile the top card of your library. You may have Spark of Creativity. Deal damage to that creature equal to the exile's card's converted mana cost. If you don't, you may play that card until end of turn. So basically what we're doing with this, targeting Zada, making a bunch of copies of it, and then exiling cards from the top of our library to go ahead and play them this turn to keep us going. Kind of a little pseudo card draw only for this turn kind of thing. Ancestral Anger, 1 red. Target creature gains trample and gets +X/+0 until end of turn, where X is 1 plus the number of cards named Ancestral Anger in your graveyard. Draw a card. So basically we're just using this as a cantrip to draw a bunch of cards. Ral's Reinforcements, 1 red and 1 other. Create 2 1/1 blue and red elemental creature tokens. So we're just using this for more bodies for Zada. Next we have Seize the Day, Molten Duplication, and Krinko's Command. Seize the Day, 1 red and 3 other. Untap target creature. After this main phase, there's additional combat phase followed by additional main phase, and it has flashback for 1 red, 2 other. Using this, target on Zada, untap everything, and go for additional combats. Multi-duplication, 1 red and 1 other. Create a token that's a copy of target artifact or creature you control, except it's an artifact in addition to its other types. It gains haste until end of turn. Sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. This is just like Heat Shimmer. This is just like Twin Flame. Just making a bunch of copies of stuff. The legendary ones will pop, of course, but you get double the creatures for more of those card draw spells, more of those treasure spells, or to just swing in before you buff, or buff before you swing in. Krinko's Command, 1 red and 1 other. Create 2 1/1 red goblin creature tokens. More bodies for Zada. Then last but certainly not least, we have Renegade Tactics. For 1 red, target creature can't block this turn. Draw a card. This just gives us card draw. That's it. Then we have our artifacts, starting with Thought Vessel, Soul Ring, and Ruby Medallion. Thought Vessel is 2 colorless. You have no maximum hand size. Tap to add colorless. Soul Rings 1 colorless. It's not colorless, it's generic, you idiot. Okay. Soul Rings 1 generic. Tap, add 2 colorless. Ruby Medallion, 2 generic red spells. You cast, cost 1 less to cast. Then finally we have Aether Flux Reservoir and Extraplanar Lens. Aether Flux Reservoir, 4 generic. For whenever you cast a spell, you gain 1 life for each spell you've cast this turn. Pay 50 life, it deals 50 damage to target creature or player. So this card is freaking sick in this deck because we're going to be casting a lot of spells. So we have this on the board, right? We cast our first spell for this turn. I gain 1 life, right? I cast another spell for this turn. I will gain 1 life for each spell I've cast, which is 2 spells, so I'll gain 2 life. Play my third spell, and then I will gain 3 life. And I'll play my 4th spell, and I'll gain 4 life. And I'll cast my 5th spell, and I'll gain 5 life. It's just exponential life gain, and it's freaking awesome. This thing gets huge. You get so much life. Extraplanar Lens, Imprint. When Extraplanar Lens enters the battlefield, you may exile target land you control. Whenever a land with the same name as the exiled card is tapped for mana, its controller adds 1 mana of any type that land produced. Obvi, we're going to have a lot of basics in here with Extraplanar Lens, so we're going to imprint one of our basics, but it's not going to be a mountain. You'll see here in a second when we get to the land. Next, we have our enchantment. Yes, our enchantment. And it is Aggravated Assault. 1 red and 2 other. 2 red and 3 other. Untap all creatures you control. After this main phase, there's an additional combat phase followed by an additional main phase. Activate only as a sorcery. This is here for, we can spend all that mana into getting additional combat steps. I've taken somebody out with this, like this is the key on turn 3 to get somebody out early in the game. It's just real nice so you can get it down and pay for it. Then we have our lands, starting with, so Kinzan, Crucible of Defiance, I pronounced that wrong, Snow-Covered Mountains, and here we are, the Extraplanar Lens payoff. We're running Snow-Covered Mountains, 27 of them bad boys, and a Forgotten Cave. So Zakhan, Crucible of Defiance, mispronounce it again, tap add red, and then it has channel to make 2 1/1 red colorless spirit, or 2 1/1 colorless spirit creature tokens. My bad. They gain haste until the turn. This ability costs 1 less to activate for each legendary creature you control. So 3 with Zada. You just get some bodies out there. 27 snow-covered mountains for the Extraplanar Lens. Huh, they ain't gonna get to tap their mountains for double just you. Forgotten Cave enters the battlefield taps for a red. It has cycling, so you can get a little bit of card draw. Next we have Reliquary Tower, Castle Innibrith, and Dwarven Mine. Reliquary Tower, just to let us keep those cards, we get Castle Innibrith. Castle Innibrith into the battlefield tapped unless you control a mountain, which we always will. Tap to add 1 red, and then we can pay into it 2 red and 1 other creature you control. Get +1/+7 until end of turn. Just a little bit of a buff, just to push us over the edge. Dwarven Mine. Dwarven Mine enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 3 or more other mountains. We may have 3 or more depending on when you get it. And then when it enters, you make a body if it comes in untapped. Yay. Alright, and that'll be it for our deck list. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys like it. I hope you guys build it and play it. It is so much fun. If you liked it, please remember to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time for our next deck tech series.